When we talk about being in the world but not of the world, some of us have really already been led astray. One of the things that made a lot of people even think about, especially Christians, think about voting for number 47 who is in office now. They thought about it because he said all of the things that they were thinking. People don't like change. They don't want to think about LGBTQ. They do not want same-sex marriage. They do not want abortion and all of the things that they say, hey, God is against. The thing is, God never called anybody to fight that stuff. He doesn't need it. He gave everybody free choice. And he says, look, choose ye this day whom you will serve. And for every choice, there are multiple consequences. I always like to say it that way because consequences are layered. They don't just happen all at once. That's why it says consequences. Have you noticed that it says for every choice, there are consequences? So you have one choice, but multiple consequences. That's another video that we're going to talk about. However, God didn't call any of us to be judge, jury, or executionists or anything. He doesn't need that. So we don't have to go out here and fight against sin or fight against what we call sin. It is so funny to me because we'll fight against some sin and then others we will wink and nod and hug, embrace, and even commit. So you will commit adultery, that's okay, but at least they're married and they're married to a man, but then they're going to go around and sleep with other people's husband. Or they're married to a woman, they'll sleep with other women, and that's okay. That's what 47 has had multiple affairs, multiple children, and yet some of you still called him conservative because he said the rhetoric that you were used to. Then it came to protecting and telling women what to do with their bodies, and all of that is fine as long as we don't talk about LGBTQ. Now, let me break it down for you, all you Bible scholars and all you really, super Christians out here. The reason why you start to look at other people or other things or experiment is because flesh is never satisfied. So if you can stomach the number 47 sitting in office with multiple children by multiple women, all of which were side pieces at some point and then made to be wives and multiple wives, if you can stomach that, then guess what? Flesh never stops. It goes deeper and deeper. It wants more and more to satisfy. So now he's with multiple women and it just continues, and that's okay. So while you have a disdain for one set of people, what you don't realize is that the sin that you don't talk about, the sin that you can't see, that you don't address, that leads to the sin that you do see, or what you call sin. However you want to look at it. The point is, you're not qualified to judge. That's why God didn't call you to judge. He just said you live accordingly, and he would judge you based on your life, not based on how you try to control somebody else's life when you lack self-discipline yourself. Until you can discipline you, which is a 19 day a week, and it's not even 19 days in a week. That's a full-time job. As a matter of fact, for some people, that's two full-time jobs. For some of you, that's 3 full-time jobs. Just trying to discipline yourself. So you don't have time to point the finger. You don't have time to talk about anybody because you need to be busy taking care of you. Now, if it was as small as some of you think about being in the world but not of the world, Judas would have never had to betray Jesus with a kiss. If it was as deep and as literal as some of you all make it, it would have never been where Jesus had to be portrayed by a kiss, because they would have known who he was immediately, because he would have stood out. He would have been so standing out that they would have known, like, okay, I don't know which one it is. Yes, you do. Here he comes, because he looks so different. He wasn't weird. He came to this world because he wanted to be among the people and he needed to experience. So it wasn't like just in what he wore. It wasn't in just what he said, because he sounded like them. He talked like them. He looked. So Judas said, hey, I will point him out to you because I know you can't tell the difference. And we all know that the disciples were not that holy, because they all went back to their own way as soon as Jesus died on the cross. My point is, you're taking this too literal, and then you're taking it to the extreme, and you're making decisions for other people when you're not qualified to make them for yourself. Like I said, understanding is everything. And if being in the world but not of the world was just that literal about what we wear on our hips, lips, and fingertips, Jesus would have been a lot easier to point out. I want you to read your word. I want you to get an understanding. And then stop judging and just keep working on you. The best thing you can do to lead people to God is to be the best version of you. And that means not worrying about and trying to control other people. It's been your girl, Candid with Kim. Get an understanding, because that's everything.